So I have received an invitation to answer these questions from Lokomotiva, and I have kind of felt the most appropriate to propose to answer them together with the collective I'm currently working with most in and through this situation of COVID-19 crisis. This collective is Antisezona, and it's a project of self-curation in performing arts, which is collectively thought of and run by 4 independent Croatian dance artists. And today Silvia and Nerina are with me. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then let's go to the questions right away. The first question is, what is for you culture of solidarity in these times, and how we can produce it? So since 5 weeks, we curate an online and live platform in which, in this specific time of limitations, we try to curate a program of live performances and different formats of collective conversations. We see this as our investment of our artistic and production capacities into questions of survival and also emergence of dance and performing arts as live and embodied medium, into survival and emergence of new modes of production and financing of arts and culture nowadays in this situation. And last but not the least, into again survival and emergence of collective and public spaces of articulation of the situation from the perspective of embodiment and co-presence, which is simply said collectivity.
Okay, so the next question is what knowledge we produce in culture and art now, and how should we produce and distribute that knowledge? So first, this now I want to make precise that for me it is the collapse of financial structures and theater convention that is due to health crisis. And this collapse put us in the position quite violently to readdress and rethink the essence of live dance art and the whole enculturalization around it. So another understanding that hit us in the face is that all the modes of expressions and productions that we were taking for granted and the questions that were rising from that were actually belong to contemporaneity that is not active anymore. So in a very concrete way, in Antisezona, we started from a commitment to continue dancing in public. So the knowledge that we are trying to grasp now is what is dancing and what is public now. And in a very concrete way, we are asking on our daily, weekly sessions that we are producing every Saturday is finding out what is performing online, what is choreographing online, so what strategies do exist in the online live format, to whom this type of work is addressed, who find it important, what is the relationship with theater, and that conversation is all the time arising. How to watch it from your own private space. What do we take from video art? What do we take from gaming and etc. And all that we do in a way that we are trying to keep very experimental, very open, and very safe, and change questions all the time in the way as the situation outside is changing.
Okay, I'll take the third question. What we learned from the crisis? Can we develop different post-crisis modes and conditions of art and cultural production, which will allow basic sustainability and reduce the precarious position of cultural workers and artists? So, first thing that we learned, of course, is again how important collectivity and solidarity are in such situations of crisis. And also what we learned is the importance of emancipation from institutional frames and traditional working dispositive. The formats of production and presentation of art practices, when they are thought from the inside, from the actual situation, are always much more adequate to the society momentum than thought from the outside, from the institutions and out from the tradition. And to develop different, more sustainable formats. And so the conditions for the art and cultural production, it would be necessary to acknowledge art and culture as public goods, and also to rethink the professionalism of the fields, giving independent artists and cultural workers the same basic rights as to those who are employed in the institutions, meaning rights to live and to work independently from market conditions. That's it.
Question number 4 is, does COVID-19 crisis bring forward the idea of a social equality, social states, and maybe universal basic income? And how that can be reflected in culture and arts? And the answer is yes. COVID-19 crisis also brings forth the idea of social interdependence. And it also makes clear that the neoliberal regime demanding individuals to be fully responsible for their autonomy, material, financial, or any other, is not a viable model for foreseeing ecological or economical futures for any of us.
Yeah, I would just add the crisis revealed the problem of expecting arts to be profitable and to be self-sustainable, as you just said, and the problem of the ideology of market principles being pronounced always as the natural order of the society is also being revealed as highly problematic in this situation of crisis.
So we have another question. What political and policy approaches you would foresee for future in the field you work, or how it should be changed in the future, and how theater should change in the future? So I think we answered a lot of these questions anymore, but before, but there is something I noticed that is opening maybe some different future, and that is that now, due to the whole situation of lockdown and restrictions, through dance, through dance not happening on stage, there is discussion in public space about the need for live action, the need for embodiment, the need for touch, the need for physicality that before wasn't stated in the public space before. Because there is lots of frustration, there is lots of grief, there is lots of losses, and I kind of see, not clearly, that maybe there will be a space when dancing will be needed in a different ways in post-crisis society. And I don't know actually what kind of theater will that be, but that is something that I noticed now.
Yeah, I maybe have to say to that the urgency for that, for embodiment, was one of the first and most basic needs. I think, like both human, civil, and artistic, that brought us to start the curation of Antisezona online and live. And I think what we have learned was that both producing context and producing content within this structure are not subservient to each other. They don't come first, like one doesn't come first, or but because of this urgent question that we shared, they kind of play with each other, and they are a chance to ask urgent questions collectively, and to be answering them collectively from a multiplicity of structural and artistic points of view.